What if you could uncover the legal standing, exact ownership details, and frankly, the hidden risks of literally any business in Virginia completely for free in under 2 minutes? No way, right? Well, today we are unlocking what is basically the ultimate tool for your due diligence toolkit.
You know, it's crazy how many folks end up paying totally unnecessary fees to third-party services for this exact same data. Or worse, they just fly blind into bad contracts. This free, state-run lookup technique, it's your absolute secret weapon for business security. So let's make sure you know exactly how to use it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the explainer. 1. Introduction and explanation. 2. Step-by-step process. 3. Detailed walkthrough. 4. Common pitfalls and tips. 5. Practical applications. And 6. Conclusion.
Starting off with Section 1, Introduction and Explanation. Why search Virginia LLCs?
Well, an LLC, a limited liability company, is a super common business structure. But before you do business with one, or hey, before you even form one yourself, you really need the facts. Utilizing this free public information solves so many massive pain points. It prevents costly name conflicts before you even file your own paperwork. It lets you quickly verify if an entity is active and compliant. Plus, it helps you identify their official registered agent for any legal correspondence. Ultimately, it massively reduces your risk before you sign on the dotted line. You absolutely don't need to fall for scams or pay some third party to do this fundamental research for you.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, the step-by-step process, accessing the SEC portal.
The very first step is absolutely crucial. You want to go straight to the official source, which is the Virginia State Corporation Commission's Clerk's Information System. We usually just call it the CIS. You can access this directly at cis.scc.virginia.gov. Now, I really want to emphasize the word official here, because third-party websites often have super outdated information. Always go straight to the SCC portal just to guarantee your data is completely accurate.
So once you're on the main dashboard, just look up to the top navigation menu and click on Online Services. This right here is your gateway to initiating the search process and really digging into those official public records.
Next up is Section 3, Detailed Walkthrough, Performing the Entity Search. You know, the system is remarkably user-friendly if you just know the sequence. There are 4 logical steps to execute a successful query. First, select your match type. Second, enter the business name or their ID. Third, just hit search. And fourth, correctly identify and open the matching entity record from the results list. It's really that simple. So let's see how that process actually plays out.
And this brilliantly illustrates your main options. You have 2 input fields in the search interface, entity name or entity ID. If you're screening a proposed name for your own new business, or you just have a company's name handy, you'll type it right into the left box. But if you already happen to have their specific state ID number, you're going to use the right box instead.
So what exactly is that number? Well, the SEC identification number is a unique Virginia entity ID that always starts with a letter, and that's followed by 7 digits. So for example, S1234567. If you actually have this number in your possession, using it is by far the absolute fastest way to pull a record. Why? Because you completely bypass any confusion with similarly named companies. It takes you straight to the correct business, no detours.
Once you hit search, you'll want to quickly scan the results table. Look for the entity name, the entity type, just to ensure it's actually a limited liability company, and its status, which we'll dive into more in just a second. Also, notice that little radio button on the far left. That's what you need to click to actually select the correct business before you hit continue at the bottom right.
And here is your final destination, the Entity Information Details screen. This is the place where the official legal name and the entity type are securely verified. Think of this page as your ultimate source of truth for the business you're researching. Let's head into Section 4, Common Pitfalls and Tips, Mastering the Search Nuances.
Okay, the absolute biggest mistake people make is how they set up their initial search parameters. When you're choosing your match type, you have to be extremely careful with the exact match setting. It is often way too narrow. You will miss really close variations of a name just because of a simple missed comma or a tiny abbreviation. Instead, I highly recommend using starts with to screen the core stem of the name or use contains to cast a much broader sweep.
Cosmetic differences trick a lot of searchers. Things like plurals, spacing, or hyphens, they do not make a name legally distinct in Virginia.
For example, Global Network LLC and Global Networks LLC with an S at the end, they are considered completely identical by the SEC. So the solution here? Always search the core stem of the word without any punctuation or standard designators like LLC. That way, you'll see the true conflicts.
Now for Section 5, Practical Applications. Using the data.
So the crucial point is to focus on this core trio of data required for proper due diligence. First, always confirm the exact SEC entity ID. Second, check the entity status. You absolutely want to ensure it says active and not terminated or inactive before you do any sort of business with them. And finally, locate the registered agent. That is the actual person or company who is legally responsible for receiving official documents and service of process for that specific LLC.
You'll probably also notice a couple of dates on the entity record. And there's a subtle but really important difference to be aware of here. The formation date is the exact day the Virginia SEC processed the filing paperwork. But the effective date? That's when operations officially began. A business owner can actually set that to a later date when they file. Usually, yeah, these are the exact same day, but it's super helpful to know the distinction when you're reviewing these records.
Oh, and here's a massive bonus application for you. This exact same portal allows you to order official certified proof if a bank, lender, or vendor ever requires it. Under the Services menu we saw earlier, you can literally just click Certificate of Fact of Existence or Registration for LLCs, pay a very small state fee, and boom, download an official state certificate.
All right, bringing us to Section 6, Conclusion. Final takeaways.
You are now totally empowered to independently verify Virginia businesses. But remember these golden rules. Always, always use the official CIS portal to ensure accuracy. Search broad using starts with or contains to catch those sneaky name variations. Verify the exact SEC entity ID to avoid any mix-ups, and honestly, most importantly, always check that the business status is active before you sign a contract or hand over a single dime. It's simple, it's accessible, and hey, it's free. A really quick but important note before we wrap up today. The information in this explainer is for educational purposes only. I'm here to show you how to navigate these public records effectively, but please always consult a licensed legal professional for specific legal advice. That's absolutely crucial, especially if you encounter complex naming conflicts or complicated contract issues. So, we've walked through the portal, we've decoded the search nuances, and you now know exactly how to pull official business data like a total pro. Now that you have these powerful tools right at your fingertips, what is the first Virginia LLC you're going to look up? Try it out today and take total control of your business research.